and sisters of Sai family. It is a sentimental occasion for me to be here today because a few feet from here, near the gate, was the place where I had my first darshan of Swami on 24th January 1977. I had come to stay with Father and have Swami's darshan. Now, Father was putting the finishing touches to the hostel because that was opened on, I think, 28 April 1977 by the acting president B.D. Jatti. This was 25th January. So I came here and told somebody to inform Father that I have come. So after a few minutes, he came up and said, "Wait here, I have to go and get Swami's permission." So I waited, he went inside, got Swami's permission, and Swami very kindly said, "Your house is my house. And of course, your son can stay with us." And I went in. The place where Father and Mother were staying was a small room which had earlier been occupied by Ishwaramma. There was only one room with a cot. Mother used to sleep on the cot, and Father used to sleep in the adjoining interview room. There was a connecting door which used to be kept unbolted at night. So when I came, Father and I used to sleep at night in the thick carpet in the interview room. And this Ishwaramma's room had, of course, a toilet, but the bath and kitchen were one. So either you could have bath or cook food. You couldn't do both together. So a bit of coordination was required to see that the cooking time and the bathing time were separate. Anyway, now this brings to mind two things. One was Ishwaramma and the other was the hostel. Now Ishwaramma and Peddabottu Amma came for the first time here in 1972, first summer course. And after a couple of days, Ishwaramma went to Peddabottu's room and came and sat very close to her. So Peddabottu was a little surprised. "What's the matter?" He said, "I have something to tell you in great secret." She was even more mystified. "What is that?" "You know, Swami is really God." So she laughed. He said, "You're laughing at me." He said, No. We all knew that, but it's nice to hear you say so. But what is it which made you say that? He said, "You know, I've been suffering from fever for the last few days. Last night, Swami came into my room, not in the form that we know him, but as Ramchandra with crown and bow in his hand. And he ordered the fever, leave immediately. And the fever vanished and I became as normal as I was." So Peddabottu said, "You are indeed blessed, because you have had a vision of Ramchandra which none of us had." And you know, a couple of days later, she passed away, saying, "Swami, Swami," and Swami said, coming. And by the time he came, she had passed away. And Swami said, at the last moment, now she was sitting with Venkamma and her children, and instead of thinking of Venkamma or the grandchildren, what she thought of was Swami. And Swami said, that is the hallmark. Now that part is Ishwaramma. Now comes this hostel. Now before coming to this hostel, Swami had tested Father in the construction of the stupa in Prasanthi Pilgrimage in 1975 for his 50th birthday. That is after he wrote that letter to Bhagwan, and Swami said, come over. And this work was given to him. Now you know, you're all familiar with the stupa, the construction, the shape. The 5 arches at the base, and the center of the base, from that, there's a stem on which, at the height of 50 feet, are the lotus petals. Now when Swami gave this work to him, he said, as far as unskilled work is concerned, make use of sevadari, ladies and gents. So there were no carpenters available to make this the formwork for the base or the arches. The father thought the simplest thing would be to make a mound of earth in a pentagon, 5-sided figure, and then the stapati will come and make the shape as was required in the drawing by arches. So that would be the simple thing, and the earth would remain where it is after the casting of the concrete has been done. And that was the simplest and the cheapest way. Now the ladies and gents worked very hard, and 9 o'clock at night one day, they had completed the pentagon and made a mound. They broke off at 9 o'clock at night, and the next day the shaping had to be made, and on the third day the bar benders would come, place the reinforcement, and the concreting would be done. Now that night, sometime after midnight, there was a heavy rainfall. Father woke up, and when he heard the sound of the rainfall, his heart sank. He said, my God, all that work done by the Sevadari, now there will be a sea of mud. What would happen? It will take 3 days to clear the mud. He couldn't sleep. He sat holding his head in his hand. And the morning, at the earliest, he got up and went outside. And to his astonishment, he found the mound of earth exactly as it had been left the previous night, as if somebody had held a huge umbrella over it. All around it was wet, except that mound of earth. She was wondering, my God, how Swami has done this. And the Sevadal also came, and they were equally astonished. Father said, anyway, Swami has done his part, let us do ours. Let's get to work and do our part, and then this Stapati can take over. And after a little while, Swami came. He said, Bose, you didn't sleep last night, no? Father said, yes, Swami, but I saw a great example of your glory. And Swami told him golden words. Job done by devotees with devotion cannot be harmed. And that was a wonderful statement. And they got to work at about 5 o'clock in the evening. Swami came and told Father, Aaj tarpaulin laga dena. That today, put tarpaulin. So Father realized that rains would come again, but Swami had warned him, so he made arrangements and got tarpaulin put, and as predicted, it rained, but then he was prepared. Now the work was done. Swami said, now you go home and come for Sankranti. This is 1975, Swami's birthday. So Father, Mother went back, and for Sankranti came to Puttaparthi, and Swami promptly whisked them away and brought them here and said, you have to do the hostel building. Now those of you who are familiar with this will know that the previous year, Swami during darshan told the boys, it is my duty to look after your comfort, and for the sake of your comfort and convenience, I've decided to construct a hostel building right next to the college building. You will be very comfortable and convenient. Swami's announcement was received with stunned silence, no smiles. And next day, a young boy got up slowly and hesitatingly offered a letter to Swami. And you know, I think most of you know about the letter, and said, which Swami read the letter and called the warden. Read it out so that everybody should know what has been written therein. And this boy had written in brief that, Swami, have we done something wrong to you? Have we disturbed you? Have we done something that you don't like? Otherwise, why are you sending us away? What we need, what we love most is your proximity. Even gods can't aspire to that. And after having achieved it, Swami, you are sending us away. It is a very sad occasion for us. And those who were here at that time, of course, the work started, but not everything at the same time. If I remember, the dining hall was made earlier, and then the rooms started coming up. Now, at that time, when I came here and I saw this work going on, and even when this was inaugurated, none of us imagined that my son and my brother's son would one day study here and do their graduation from here. Those who were old students would know my son's name was Madhukar and my brother's son's name was Gunaranjan. Both names kept by Swami. Now, those days there was a simple system that after the boys were selected for admission, they used to stand in one line and Swami would come and talk to them individually, one by one. There was one boy with shoulder-length hair. When Swami came to him, he said, Bakaru, you want admission in my college? Which college? Brindavan College or Anantapur College? The boy took the hint. After Swami left, he went straight to the barber shop and got a haircut. Now, this college is unique in one respect. All Swami's education institutions have been inaugurated by president, vice president, somebody or the other. But this particular college was inaugurated by God himself. Swami inaugurated it on 18th May 1978. I think this is something which we tend to forget because Swami was so close to us. We say he is God, but then we forget that he is really God. So this is unique, the only college to be inaugurated by God himself. Looking back over these years, it is a wonderful feeling to come back here and stand before you one day. In this place, my son Madhukar was then just 2 years old. My daughter was 9 years old, and they used to play in the sand here. Anyways, we came here for the 78 summer course, and my daughter was very outgoing and she used to go with the Anantapur girls and sit with them for lunch. And it was 78 at that time that Brahmarpanam, Brahmavi, this was started. And in our family, my daughter was the first to pick up Brahmarpanam. And every day, we used to listen to speeches by great scholars And in the evening, Swami used to give his discourse. Now you remember, one scholar said, Hinduism is based on 4 concepts. The concept of Paramatma, that is universal soul, the concept of Jivatma, the individual soul, the concept of transmigration of soul, and the concept of liberation from this. Now, one thing which had always confused me, that if there is a concept of liberation which required some effort on our side, then how can we do this if the law of karma was very rigid? Then matters should take their course. Now, this confusion remained till I read in some place where Swami has said, do not underestimate the power of prayer. If everything were preordained, there would be no point in praying. At another place, some time later, I read Swami telling one Ramchandra Iyer that if everything, the law of karma was very rigid, there would be again no point in praying. But you can affect, you can change your karma, you can change your destiny by rites, rituals, bhajans, satsang, pilgrimages, all these things. All these depend on you. You can change your destiny. Don't think everything is rigidly preordained. Now that is something, a categorical statement by Swami, which clears the doubt. Yes, things are ordained, but you have the power in you to change it. Now this brings to mind 2 incidents. Swami had gone to Hubli, and there Dr. Adke, the principal of the Vice Chancellor of Karnataka University, arranged a big medical camp. And Swami was going round. Suddenly he went to one end where a mother was standing and crying, and at her feet sat an 18-year-old blind girl chanting something. And Swami told this lady, why are you crying, Amma? I have come to give sight to your daughter. Now she was born blind. That means it was her past karma which affected her, and she was born blind. Now Swami comes and tells her, at the age of 5, you taught her the mantra, Om Namah Shivaya. And for last 13 years, with single-minded devotion, she has been chanting Om Namah Shivaya. She is doing even now. So I have come to give her eyesight. And he put his thumbs on her eyelid, removed the thumbs. So open your eyes. She opened her eyes and she said, shouted with glee, I can see everything. Now this is one instance. And Dr. Adke had asked Swami, can I invite reporters and photographers? Swami said, yes, why not? Let people know. And so next day, the newspaper carried an account of this girl getting her eyesight back. So double the number of people turned up the next day. And Swami again was going round, and there was this European lady sitting on a rock some distance away from the main Swami's route. She had crutches because she had a defective leg, because of which she had to use crutches. Swami went straight to her, said, I am glad to see this newspaper in your hand. I made sure that newspaper would reach you. Now get up. So with the help of the crutches, she stood up. Swami said, give me the crutches. He took the crutches from her, laid it at one side, and he said, your devotion to Jesus is phenomenal. I have come to cure you. And he held her left hand and said, run. And this lady who had walked all her life with crutches looked at Swami and then started running. And she came back running and shouted with joy, Swami, I am cured. Thus, she was born with a defective leg. So again a past karma. And here is the Lord curing her because of her intense devotion. Now, once Swami was sitting with a number of people, and amongst them were some scholars and wise people. And Swami said, now tell me, what is the greatest? Now that was a question which stumped everybody. They thought they're very wise. They looked at each other. Nobody was prepared to open his mouth and say anything. Swami said, what? Such scholars are here, you can't answer a simple question. What is greatest? Silence. Then Swami said, okay, I will tell you what is greatest. Emptiness is greatest because it is pure. There is nothing in it, but there is everything in it. Think it over deeply, then you will be able to understand the meaning. And then he waved his hand and materialized a lotus flower, a beautiful range of colors and a fragrance which was divine. And Swami said, I have got this flower for you from Mansarovar. It only grows at Mansarovar, and that also only few people can see this. Now you see my hand, I have produced it from my hand. You see my hand, there is nothing in it, but there is everything in nature in my hand. Now this cleared one more doubt, that when Swami looks at you as used to, you felt a sensation of joy. I used to think that Swami transmits something. But then one day it so happened that I was feeling very depressed and dejected. And Swami came and for about 5 seconds looked deeply into my eyes, and all that feeling of depression vanished. And then I tried to bring the same thoughts back which had created the depression in the first instant. And I found that same thoughts had no power to do any negative thing to me. That feeling had completely gone, and there was a feeling of calmness. Now then I realized that what happens is when Swami looks into your eyes, is that for that split second, your mind is completely stilled. Because you can only look at his eyes and nothing else comes to mind. And in that nothingness, the bliss which is within each of us gets the chance to surge up, and you experience it. So then I realized that probably all the aim of all meditation, various techniques, was ultimately to still the mind, and in that instant allow the bliss within to come up. Now, so many dignitaries have come to Chaitanya Jyoti and said that, this place is like an oasis in the vast desert of the outside world. This is an oasis. Now, how did it become an oasis? Swami, of course. But was it something physically that he had created or something else? I will narrate you the stories of two Jayalakshmis, both Dr. Jayalakshmis. One Dr. Jayalakshmi is the daughter of Keshav Vittal, who had retired as the chief of the forest department of Mysore state. And she came to know Sakamma and went to her house when Swami had come there and met Swami, and Swami had immediately developed great love for this family. And Jayalakshmi, who was the youngest of the daughters and not yet married, Swami said, "You sing very well. Now start learning bhajans, and I want you to sing bhajans." Now that's one part. Then he tells them, "Come to Puttaparthi." And they came to Puttaparthi, Keshav Vittal, his wife, Jayalakshmi, and two neighbors. One middle-aged lady, same age as Mrs. Vittal, and one young lady, same age as Jayalakshmi. And they were sleeping in the main hall of the old temple. And the elderly two ladies had gone to sleep, but the two young ladies kept chatting about Swami. After midnight, Dr. Jayalakshmi said, "It's getting very oppressive. Let's go and have some fresh air outside." They came out, and to their intense surprise, they found the whole place brightly lit. Wondering from where is this light coming? There was no electricity in Puttaparthi those days, and the light was too bright even for, had the electricity been there. And they went out further, and they found the entire hills around Puttaparthi glowing as if they were on fire. And they were wondering, what is this? Are they dreaming? Is it real? Anyway, after some time, they couldn't look at the brightness any longer, came back, and in the morning, they went out to see what was it. Did they dream, or was it something real? And Swami came up from them. "You are thinking of the lights that you saw last night? That was my vision to you. That light is there all the time. Only very few can see them. It is called Digbandhan. It is that light which prevents all negative tendencies and negative thoughts from entering this hallowed valley." So that is something which actually exists, which prevents anything negative from coming to that. Now then, next, Dr. Jayalakshmi. She was a PhD, she was a doctor in the general hospital. Swami called her one day and said, "Go to England for higher studies." And she said, "But Swami, at this late occasion, how will I get admission?" He said, "That's not your problem, that's my problem. You apply." She applied, got admission, came to Swami for blessings. Swami blessed and said, "Yes, do go, study well, do well." And also asked her, "What do you want from me? Ask anything." Said, "Swami, all I want is, please bring me back safely." Said, "All right. I grant you that you will come back safely." And she went and did well. On the return journey, London to Paris was one flight. When she landed at Paris, she knew there were 4 hours left. And in that 4 hours, she wanted to go to Eiffel Tower and come back. She asked the taxi driver, "Is it enough time for me to go to Eiffel Tower and back?" She said, "Yes, madam. I'll take you back. I'll bring you back. I'll take you there." And he got into it and went to Eiffel Tower, had a look around, and started coming back. Now there's a railway gate. When they came to it, they found it to be closed. We waited for 5 minutes. The gate wouldn't open, and this Jai Lakshmi was getting more and more tense that if it doesn't open soon, she'll miss the flight. And she was berating the taxi driver for bringing her to a by wrong route. He said, "Madam, this is the shortest route, believe me. I have been driving a taxi in Paris for 20 years and I have never seen this gate remain closed for more than 7 minutes. And this gate opened after half an hour." And Jai Lakshmi was furious with the taxi driver. "You made me miss the flight." She came back in a huff, literally threw the money at the taxi driver and entered the airport building. And of course she had missed the flight. And in a huff she went to the counter, they put her on the next flight an hour later. And he came back and she sat in the lounge fretting and fuming. After 10 minutes there is an announcement. "We regret to announce that the flight which took off after half an hour back for Bombay has crashed and there are no survivors." She started crying. When she came back, she went to Swami with tears in her eyes. She didn't say anything. Swami said, "I know. I had promised to bring you back safe. That is why I closed the gate for half an hour, so that you would miss the flight." So you had no business to scold that taxi driver. Once you take refuge in me, then know that whatever happens is for your good. Anyway, past is past. Remember this lesson for future. Now, I was just said about how the intensity of devotion can change your destiny. Now, Swami says the simplest sadhana and the strongest sadhana in Kali Yuga is Namasmaranam. And he said, I will tell you a story. He said, once Narad thought, there's so much of wrong things going on in the world. If Vishnu gave me one chance, I would go and set everything right. And here Vishnu is sitting and not doing anything. So Vishnu came to know about it and called Narad. You think you can set everything right, all right? At such and such a place, in a forest, you go there, you will find a crow. You stand in front of the crow and say Govinda 3 times. So Narad went, chanted Govinda 3 times. The crow also said Govinda 3 times and fell down dead. Narad scratched his head and said, what is this? Came back to Vishnu and said, this is what has happened. Okay. Now you go to this place and there the parrot will be sitting on the branch of a tree and you say Govinda 3 times in front of the parrot. And come back and tell me what happened. And Narad went again and he said Govinda, Govinda, Govinda 3 times. And the parrot also said that and fell down dead. Narad said, my God, what is this happening? Went back again. And Vishnu said, oh, this has happened. Now you go to a Brahmin's house in Benares. The cow has given birth to a calf. Now you go and chant Govinda 3 times in front of the calf. And come back and tell me what happens. He said, oh Lord, don't get me in this trouble. If the calf dies and the Brahmin curses me, I've had it. He said, don't worry, I'm telling you. See, he went there and stood in front of the calf and Govinda 3 times. And the calf also said Govinda 3 times and died. And Narad ran from there before the Brahmin could curse him. And came and stood in front of Vishnu and they were shaking. my Lord, you are going to get me into serious trouble. I just escaped being cursed. Is it all right? Now you go to such and such a king. A baby has been born to that king, and you go and chant Govinda 3 times. He said, Lord, I am not going there. You will really get me beheaded. He said, I am Vishnu, I am the Lord. I am telling you, do this once. After that, if something bad happens, don't come to me again. So he went there, and the king was very happy to see him. Oh Lord, you have come. I am blessed that Sage Narad has come to me. A baby has been born. Please come and bless the baby. So he went inside and said, well, I don't want anybody here. So the queen also went out, and he said, Govinda, Govinda 3 times. The baby opened his eyes and said, I am so happy to see you, O Lord Sage. I was a crow. You chanted Govinda 3 times. I also said so. And I took birth as a parrot. The same thing happened again. Now I took birth as a calf. And after that, with your grace, chanting Govinda 3 times, I have been born as a prince. The name that you told me to chant is so powerful that in 3 short births, I have been born as a human. So Narad went back and told Vishnu what had happened. He said, now you realize when I told you to do this, it means how powerful is the name of the Lord. A being from crow to prince in a short time. That is the power of this name of Lord. Now there was another occasion when Swami, in his early days, when people hadn't heard of him, was giving a discourse. And he said, if God asks you, what do you want to be? What do you want from me? What do you want to be? What should you answer? He looked round and said, I will tell you, you ask to be made into a flute in your hands. Why a flute? Because the flute is straight. It has no crookedness. It is hollow. It has no pride, no feeling of self. And in such condition, if the Lord blows his breath through the flute, it changes into divine music. That is why I tell you to ask to be a flute in his hands. Now we have heard so many stories of Swami performing surgical operations on various people. But there was one occasion when Swami asked a group of doctors to be sent to the operation room of the general hospital. So Kasturi said, well, why Swami, the operation room, not interview room? So what could be more appropriate to talk to doctors? So the doctors, who included some surgeons also, went to this operation room. And a patient had been put on the table waiting for surgery, peptic ulcer. And the doctors took around and Swami said, this patient needs a surgical procedure called gastrojejunostomy. Now tell me, how long would you take normally to perform this operation? The surgeons talked among themselves and said, Swami, it will take about 2 hours. And we are surprised, how do you know the name of this surgical procedure, gastrojejunostomy? Swami said, don't I know everything? Then it's all right. And now you see the time. I'll perform this operation in front of you. And you raise his hand, scalpel would come, make an incision. raise his hand, the scalpel would disappear. And this went on, instruments, tools coming and going. And when he said, oh, any bandage around? No bandage. Oh, it doesn't matter. Again, from the air, he got a bandage, bandaged the patient and said, all right, now tell me, how much time did it take? They looked at their watches. Swami, half an hour. Now, I have done a lot of reading, but nowhere have I come across any incident like this where Swami had done a surgical operation in front of doctors. And the doctor said, Swami, had it been done anywhere else, had anybody else told us about it, we would not have believed it. Anyway, this is one part. In 1980, the educational institutions in Parthi had been completed and a lot of boys had started coming in. Kutumba Rao was very worried how to get that extra water. Chitravati, you all know. And he got some 3 people, geologists from Tirupati, to come and locate proper places for bore well. And they located 3 places. Swami was informed by Kutumba Rao, and Swami, can you come and select which is the best place? Swami went there with him, said none of these are of any use. He picked up a pebble, he said, I will throw this pebble, mark the place where it lands. Did that. Kutumba Rao went there, Swami, this is the place. We'll drill the borehole here. That was done, and it produced more water than any of the others which were thought to be. And it is still in operation there. Then Father was brought back here to do the try. In between, he had done this accommodation, the administrative building of the university, which he still asserts was his most difficult project. Now he came here and constructed the trai. It was inaugurated, I think, on 26 May 1980, 26 April 1984. And you know, the trai sessions used to be most wonderful sessions of interaction. And one of these trai sessions, there was a boy from Kerala, and Swami looked at him and said, why is this castor oil face? Then he waved his hand and materialized a pair of earrings, which he gave to this boy. Again he waved his hand, one more pair of earrings, gave it to this boy. Now Professor Anil Kumar couldn't contain himself any longer. Swami, why are you giving these earrings to this boy? I have 3 daughters. If you give the earrings to me, it will be some use. Swami said, keep quiet, you don't know. This boy's mother had a very great desire to make earrings for her 2 daughters. She died before she could fulfill these wishes. This mother has fulfilled the wishes of that mother. On another occasion, the boy who was studying in his 12th class, still not given the examination. Swami said, you will do medicine. Boy hadn't even thought of it. But Swami's orders, all right, Swami. He did his 12th class. Swami got him enrolled in a private medical college, paid the capitation fees, all the expenditure on this out of his funds. And the boy became a doctor. But at that stage, again, Professor Anil Kumar says, Swami, Why are you spending so much money on this boy? What has he done? He said, you don't know. His mother wanted him to be a doctor, but she couldn't succeed in that. She was very morose. His father also tried his best, but he also couldn't get sufficient funds. And in complete dejection, he climbed up on a hill and he wanted to jump and commit suicide. When I shouted at him, don't jump, and stopped him from jumping. I have fulfilled the desire of this fine mother and father who wanted to do this for their son. I have seen to it that their desires are fulfilled. And this boy today has a great practice. Swami's love can move mountains. This happened in 84, 3 sessions. Now before 3 sessions, in the earlier days, there used to be Chitravati sessions. And Swami used to love sitting in Chitravati and this interaction. And a very small thing happened one day. Everybody was smiling. Swami was also in a great mood. There was one old woman who was sitting very morosely. Swami said, what's the matter? Why are you so morose? He said, Swami, I am a fool. By mistake, I have left my specs at home. And all these wonderful leelas of yours, I can't see. Oh, Swami. Swami said, oh, only that is your problem. Come here. Called her in front of him and on the sand drew a specs. He said, take it. And this lady thought Swami is joking. So she hesitated. No. I'm very serious. Take it. She touched it and became real specs. Put it on. She put it on, said, Swami, this is better than my old specs. Now I'll come to this, I think, for what you've been waiting for, a lot of you. You know, in front of the new mandir in Puttaparthi, we used to sit on sands in the old days. Then Swami told my father to get this place concreted, which he did. Now, after he did that, he fell very seriously ill, and Navratri had started. On the last day, Dasara day, the fever left him, he had remission, and against all advice, he said, I must go and hear Swami's discourse on Dasara and get Shanti Jal. Can't miss that. And he went there, sat on a chair for the first time. Swami started his discourse, and I used to start with a Telugu poem. He started it, and my father fell down from the chair. The Sevadal immediately came and laid him out. Dr. Chari and Dr. Patel, who was sitting behind him, came up immediately, found no heartbeat, no pulse. Swami had in the meantime switched off the mic and rushed towards Father. Nobody had seen him walk too fast. He had his right hand clenched, as if he was holding something. As he neared Father, the 2 doctors waved their hands that he is gone. Swami didn't pause, brushed them to one side, raised Father's head with his left hand, and with his right hand, he did this. Father opened his eyes. People clapped who were watching this. And mother and sister were sitting far away. They hadn't seen what happened. They saw Swami rush somewhere. They heard clapping. And they said, whatever happened, something good must have happened. So Swami came back and resumed his discourse that nothing has happened. He told Father, get up. and go and sit near the steps, you'll get fresh air. Went back, started his discourse as if nothing has happened. This was 20th October 1988. And discourse continued, discourse got over, Shanti Chal over. Father slowly walked back to his room, followed by these two doctors. Father thought probably they are going somewhere on that road. He opened the door of the flat, went inside, and these two doctors also went inside. And Father looked at them and said, "What's wrong? Why are you here? So you don't know what happened to you?" He said, "I fainted. They fainted my foot. You died." He said, "What?" "Yes, this is what happened. There was no sign of any life in you. Swami has given you new life." Then Father thought back, and certain things became clear to him, because he thought it was dreamt. Then he said that he saw that he was floating about above his body. His body was lying there, and a huge golden bird with white portion round his neck was hovering above the body. And Swami waved that bird away. He said the bird was so big that I was wondering, how did it enter? And once Swami told it to go away, it just vanished. He said, now it became clear to me that this was a Garud who comes to take the souls away. But Swami waved it, went back. That evening there was a trust meeting. And it is in that trust meeting that Swami said, Bose had died, but I can't go, let him go as yet. He still has a lot of work to do for me. And in 91, the super hospital construction had started. The devotee who had said, Swami, give me land, I'll give you a hospital. Swami gave the land. Hospital work started. A famous architect called Professor Keith Critchlow was engaged. But right from day one, there were disputes and quarrels. And in 6 months' time, only some staff quarters had come up to lintel level. The main building foundation hadn't even started. When this gentleman goes to Swami and says, Swami, my money is over, what do I do? Swami said, go home. But Swami, I said this, that. He said, that's all history. Now you have nothing else to do, you go home. He packed him off, called Father, take immediate charge. This is first week of May. Take immediate charge. If necessary, put 2,000 people on the job. Call your younger son, he will help you. That's my younger brother, he is an architect. He lives in Pune. So call him, he will help you. And the first heart surgery will be performed on 22nd November. This is the first week of May, and the foundation of the main building hadn't even started. And as you know, the first heart operation was performed on 22nd November. My brother had to do all the running around. Father was already 82 at that time, so he couldn't move around, but he knew what's going on. He could take charge and get the LNT to really move. And for the first time, an inauguration took place without fanfare, without speech making. Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister, landed at 9 o'clock, taken to the operation theatre, cut the ribbon, taken to the operation theatre, and 4 heart surgeries were done in a space of 3 hours. There is a mistaken notion that Dr. Venugopal did the first heart surgery. It is not correct. He was the head of the team. The first heart surgery was done by Dr. Krishna Iyer, who later on became director of the Escorts Heart Institute in Delhi. After inauguration, that was the main hall, the main dome, and the cardiac side. The other side took 6 more months to complete. So today when I go there, I see and remember how it all came up. In between, I had come on leave sometimes to see how he's proceeding. It was amazing how things happen. And the night previous to the inauguration, it rained, of all things. And the LMT spent the whole night getting quarry dust from the quarries and spread wherever there was mud and water. So by the time next morning, when Prime Minister came to inaugurate, everything was all right. I don't know how it happens. It happened in Chaitanya Jyoti also. This building, which had a lot of technical difficulties, we constructed in 1 year and 2 days. And the architect himself, who was from Malaysia, said, had it been in Kuala Lumpur, this project would have taken 3 years. And here it is done in 1 year and 2 months. How it happens, I don't know. Although I was part of it as Swami's engineer for this project. But I don't know how it happens. Now, one thing which happened, it cleared a lot of wrong notions. When you see people being called for interview a number of times, we feel, oh, he must be a great devotee. And Swami giving rings, watches, bracelet, and chain. It's called the Grand Slam, I believe. So when that happens, people think, oh, he must be a great devotee. End of 99, my mother had a stroke and was sent to super hospital. And we 3 brothers and sisters, within 2 days, we all landed up. My sister from Calcutta, my brother from Pune, and I was in Delhi. We came. 2 days later, mother passed away. And Swami said, perform the last rites and come to me. I will call you for interview. And that he did at 4 o'clock in the evening. And he said, don't grieve. Your mother had led a pious life. She died at a very auspicious moment, and she will not be born again. Now this really stunned us. We realized how much we had underestimated mother. She had never given a lecture, never written a book, never constructed a building, never did anything of this note we store great things by. But what she did was spread love. When after she died, so many people came and told me, oh, your mother loved me so much. Now that is the essential things, not the trinket that you give her. She never got a chain, never ring, not a single thing in her life, but got the most important thing at the point of death. Earlier, when she was living here, once she tripped over the mat and fell down and broke her arm. Plaster was removed, and put again for 2 more weeks, removed. But mother used to get great pain on the right hand and also at the back of the wrist, the hand. And it was very difficult for her to even comb her hair. My wife also came, we tried to give her some treatment, nothing worked. One day Swami came to her and he said, Amma, haath mein dard karta hai? So mother said, हाँ Swami, thoda karta hai. He said, Bose ko pito, theek ho jayega. So he also smiled, mother also smiled. People said, why don't you ask Swami to cure you? He said, I'm not going to ask anything. He is Antaryami, he knows what is to be done and when. Swami watched her. A few more months passed. One day Swami came to her again. तुम्हारा हाथ कैसा है अम्मा? ठीक है स्वामी, क्या ठीक है? लाओ हाथ. And he rubbed her here, and her hand was as good as new. No pain, nothing. So he saw patience, the amount of faith. Now, father had a stroke 1 year later and admitted in GH and he was going downhill. And I would go to Swami every morning, I would tell him the progress. And Swami said, tell your father I will come to meet him. And father was very impatient. Oh, he didn't come today. Next day again said, oh, Swami is not come today. No, Swami won't come. Then on 26 January, Swami sent word that he is coming. So Swami was not able to climb steps those days, and father was brought down to a ground floor room. And Swami came, stood by him, and father was trying to say something. So Swami asked him, what is father saying? He said, Swami, he says, Mukti chahiye. Mukti milega, he said. Patted him on the head and was coming out. And father had put the bed sheet a little too much. His foot was sticking out. Swami halted near the foot of the bed, took the bed sheet and covered his feet. For the Lord of the universe, for a devotee, even this small thing matters. Anyway, he passed away, and my wife was a physiotherapist by profession and didn't get any occasion to practice it after we got married, and we kept moving from place to place. This time she went to Dr. Alreja and said, can I start a physiotherapy center here? He said, let me ask Swami, and Swami gave the permission. So she started, as she said, with her hands and infrared lamps. Today it is a full-fledged physiotherapy department with 50 patients coming a day. Now my sister had this wish that my two brothers, got a chance to serve Swami if she also could get a little chance. Swami fulfilled her wish also, and she is now a regular visiting professor in English. Last 5 years she's been coming. She's taught in the boys' college also and the girls' college in Anandpur also. Her wishes were also fulfilled. And then in Chaitanya Jyoti, the last stage on top, it had to be completely remodeled. And we asked G.B. Chaitram Jetwani from Dubai to send as consultant. And he sent the representative of the consultant. A lady came and we interacted with her for a few days. She went back and sent a quotation for 18,000 pounds sterling. Now 18,000 pounds is a hell of a lot of money, about almost 15 to 16 lakhs. So he said, it's crazy, so much money for this. Then I thought, instead of going around here and there, let us try near at home. My sister's son is a graduate from National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad. And he's in Delhi and regularly does some work in any exhibition that takes place. So I caught hold of him. He did a beautiful design, absolute professional. Today people come and praise it, and he didn't charge didn't take a single paisa, not even for his journeys. We saved 18,000 pounds and got a beautiful thing, and he got an opportunity to do something for Swami. So we have been blessed a lot. And now, 4th generation devotees are coming up. My daughter's 2 sons, and my son's, Madhukar's son, was 1 year and 3 months old, can't say a single word, but can do Sai Ram. Another 5 minutes? Now, Swami had told Dr. Upadhyay to hold medical camps in Shirdi. And after that, when he came to meet Swami, Swami said, "Tell me one thing. What is the difference between medicine and chocolate?" A very odd question. So the pharmacist also scratched his head. No answer. Swami said, "I'll tell you. If there are 5 chocolates and 10 boys, you can break them into 2 and give them. But if there are medicine for 50 patients and 100 patients come, you can't make half of them and give it. You can only do 50 patients." So Upadhyay said, "But Swami, what happens to the remaining 50? I can't send them back empty-handed." Swami said, "Give them Vibhuti." Vibhuti, Swami. But if they don't have faith in it, where is the question of faith? Now you are an eye doctor. Suppose a kidney patient comes to you, what do? "Swami, I refer him to a kidney doctor." "And how do you do it?" "Swami, on my notepad, I write his name, write these things, and I send them, and then the kidney doctor takes over." He said, in the same way, when you put Vibhuti on a patient's forehead, he is referred to me. Then I take over. And a proof of that, Upadhyay got shortly thereafter. He was holding a medical camp on the border of Ivory Coast and Ghana. On the last day, they were packing up. The driver was there in the lorry and was loading cartons on the lorry. At that point of time, a young African lady of about 21 came with a 7-day-old baby. The baby's eyes were full of pus. You couldn't even see the eye, there was so much of pus. And Upadhyay's heart sank. He said, another 15 minutes and they would have gone. Then he wouldn't have to see this and feel guilty. But what could he do now? So he thought he would grind some penicillin tablets into powder and give it to the eyes. So he took up a bowl and put some penicillin tablets and about to grind when the nurse asked him, "Doctor, what are you doing?" So this is what I'm trying to do. He said, "Doctor, would you do this for your baby?" He stopped. He said, "No. But I'll do one thing for my baby. I'll put Vibhuti on its forehead." And he put Vibhuti on his forehead and a little in his mouth. Just then, the driver comes. "Doctor, I have loaded these things, but there is one small packet with no label on it." Dr. Upadhyay said, "It can't be ours. Must be somebody else, because every packet of ours has label on it for custom clearance." "But doctor, nobody else has come here, only you people who have been here." So he said, "All right, let us see what it contains." And he opens it, and there is the medicine which he needed to treat that baby. See the time lag between Vibhuti on the forehead of the baby and the coming of the medicine. It's simply mind-boggling. I think I've spoken enough. I thank you all for listening patiently. It has been a good experience to talk to you all. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you.